All right, guys. Um, so we're going to go through this. This is some of what I covered at SITS, but it's a little more in depth. And it sort of answers one of the questions right away. It's how customer service and customer experience and whatever we want to call it, customer anything, is hurting your technology team, your performance, and limiting your potential and all the things that you could do and get to. Um, I know this is sort of controversial. So many things in ITIL books and so many different presentations and books and everything. People talk about customer, 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 and all the people you serve, and this, co-creation of value, and all these other things that we talk about with customer this, customer that. And the idea of a customer service concept sort of was born out of the idea of running IT as its own business, and it really took fire. Everyone thinks about it. We all understand what customer service is, and it really took off. And people were like, "Yes, this makes sense," and to a point, it does. So it's not, it's not necessarily bad. It's just really limiting, and hurting your potential. So a little bit about me, if you don't already know, CIO, basketball coach, and various other things. But where the basketball coach comes in is where we get to the answer for all this. My undergrad degree is in sports psychology. It's been my focus for so long. It's something I really love. And it's the same thing of psychology as we can all think about, and helping people perform, helping athletes perform. But it goes a step further, where it helps teams. And it's considered the team concept, like we talked about a few minutes ago, how a company is a thing. It's not just people. A team is effectively a thing, and there's a psychological aspect to that. And sports psychology is also big on helping athletes perform at their highest level, at the highest pressure situations. So you could think of um, Olympic athletes, right? Olympics is one of those things where someone trains for 15 to 20 years. They're spending their whole life trying to get great at some particular skill or sport. And then they get to perform in the Olympics for, 60 seconds. And so they have 60 seconds to put on to show off 20 years worth of work. Sports psychology really goes a long way in helping those kind of things, helping athletes overcome major injuries, right? Similar to helping employees come back to work after an extended layoff. Similar to helping, we talked about high pressure situations, helping teammates in technology work through critical outages, major security events, those kind of things. The same type of things happen. And psychology and sports psychology in particular, again, goes a long way there. And it goes a long way with the team concept. And that's what we'll get to in a little bit. All right. Do we not want to go to the next slide? Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So, as part of a team, we hear about all this time about, technologies aligning with the business, and we have to, I don't know, support the business and all these things. And these are things that I specifically like. I don't understand what anyone's talking about. To me, as a technology team, you are the business. You're part of the business. It's not an alignment thing. The alignment concept builds sort of the business has come up with a strategy, and then now we have to fall behind it and support it. Technology should be part of the strategy. Technology should be in the room where it happens. Don't come up with the idea of alignment, because then by definition of the tense of the word, you're after the business strategy has already been defined, because you're aligning with something that's already established. In that case, you're falling behind, and you've already set yourself up for failure. I don't understand when people tell me that, you have to do this to increase alignment. I'm like, oh, why? If you're not aligned, let's say you haven't been aligned or whatever it is you want to call it for the past 6 months. My question is, well, what have you been working on? And if you tell me you haven't been aligned for the past 6 months, I guess part of it's like, I don't know what you're doing here, right? So as a company, you know, think about how to put yourself at the table. And if you're not, just go sit at it. Just be in there. And the idea of this team that you're a part of and the company that you're a part of is all about the goal. And the goal simply is to win, right? We're winning market share, we're winning revenue, we're winning profit, beating the competition. We talked about, competitive advantages and what's your differentiator earlier. And so the idea is to win. And when you think about winning and winning teams, what goes into a winning team, right? What do winning teams have? And if you can think about sports, you can think about soccer, basketball, football. Doesn't matter what it is. If you think about the teams that win championships, it's not the teams with the most talent. It's not the teams that with the most productivity and all these other things. It's the teams with the most team chemistry. That's who wins. It's not the teams with the best roster or the most talent. Chemistry is what wins, and it's proven to us over and over and over again. And if you watch sports and listen to sports, on radio, watch TV, you'll hear commentary quite often about the team chemistry and all this, and they talk about it quite a bit as we talk about why teams win. But somehow, when we talk about companies and organizations and leadership, you never hear the word team chemistry or the term team chemistry, and it really blows my mind. But if you actually take the idea of team climate, team atmosphere, and building team chemistry within your IT team and then across your organization, you'll see some amazing things happen. So, all right. In team chemistry, and again, sort of referred to this, but the really easy way to break this down is on bad teams, the players play for themselves. We've all seen this. Same thing goes for organizations and companies. On good teams, the players play for the team, and I think this is a big difference from the bad teams, right? They're all thinking about what the company's about or what the team is about, and so on. But on the absolute greatest teams, the teams that win, the players play for each other. They're not thinking about the team. They're thinking about, the guy or gal next to them. And that's who they're playing for. One easy, sort of analogy for this is in the military. A lot of us think about, our armed, forces out there and the people out there are serving their country, and they are. They're doing, wonderful things. They're risking their lives for our freedoms and everything, and it's wonderful. And we think of them as fighting for our country. But if you go ask them who they're fighting for, it's the guy next to them. It's not about the country. It's about the people in the foxhole with them. And that's what makes them successful. And that's what makes them great. So in a customer service world, and we'll go back to customer service, is a little brand down here, but I'll take you through it. Um, Assume we have a ticket that comes in, and you can read this if you want. We have Janice, someone who wants to print a contract for someone. Printer's not working. She calls in and she gets Mike. Let's say someone on the service desk technician. And she starts, screaming and yelling, and she's upset that the printer isn't working. She's got a client that she needs to print a contract for. She's animated. She's excited. All of the things. And Mike de-escalates the call, de-escalates the tension, calms Janice down. Let's say he pushes the magic button. Let's say it's restarting the spooler. Who cares? And then he starts to ask her, hey, I printed a test page. Is it printing now? Are you able to print? She says, yep, she can print. And then they hang up, they take off. And then a couple of days later, she'll get a survey, right? We've all seen these little surveys that go out, the CSAT thing. And from that, that seems like a pretty good interaction, similar to this right here, where this young lady is serving someone some coffee and breakfast over a counter. And in a customer service mentality, that's what all this is about. It's about serving someone what it is that you provide, in this case, technology or breakfast. And you're over in a counter. In an IT standpoint, there's an invisible counter between you, and you guys are face to face, and you're serving them. And again, it's not bad, but it's limiting. It's lacking team chemistry, which is again what helps teams really win. So let's take the team chemistry approach. Same exact situation. Janice calls in, printer's not working, and instead of Mike de-escalating the call, he matches it. This is what I call synergy, and you've heard me talk about it a couple times if you've been part of OSC. This is the synergy piece. This is where you match the energy. So instead of saying, it's okay, calm down kind of thing, or whatever it is that you're going to do to de-escalate. And there's a lot of subtle, beautiful ways to do this. But instead of doing that, he matches her energy. And he says, oh, yeah, this is a big problem. And he fixes the printer, whatever that may be. But instead of asking, is the printer working? He'll ask, are you able to print everything for the client? Is the client able to sign the contract? And you start to care about what they care about. And that's a big part of doing this. And we'll go into some strategies on building the idea of caring about other people's goals. But when you care about someone else's goals, you start to create that team chemistry. By not de escalating the call, you've matched her energy. This builds emotional chemistry. This builds that team chemistry. And so what happens instead of serving someone over a counter, you're now shoulder to shoulder with them, serving the client who needs to sign the contract. And this simple perspective creates a shared experience, a shared vision. And instead of Janice looking at Mike to fix the problem, Mike and Janice are looking at the printer together. And they start looking at the problem together and thinking about what's wrong with the printer rather than what's wrong with IT, why they can't get anything to work, and so on. And when you have this type of chemistry, it creates a different mindset. So over time, as you have these calls, and this doesn't happen overnight, but over time, as you have these calls, Janice or whoever starts to think about you guys as IT support rather than I'm calling to get crazy customer service or get problem fixed for me. They start to think I'm calling my boys or my girls who's got my back, and they think of it differently. And an easy way to think about it and put yourself in that position is right now, if you close your eyes and you think about calling your ISP when the internet is down, and let's say it's a great company and you're expecting great customer service, you call them and think about your mental state and the sense of urgency you have and what your expectations are for the call while the phone is ringing. So you're hearing the phone ring, you're waiting for them to pick up. I want you to think about that mental state that you're in. If you can feel it, try to feel it and feel what it feels like, right? Now, I want you to think about a completely different situation. I want you to think about if you're driving somewhere and you get a flat tire and you're on the side of the road and you call your brother to come help you with a flat tire. I want you to think about the mental state you're in when you're calling your brother, who you know is coming to help you. And by the way, doesn't get paid to do the job, doesn't get paid to come fix your tire, right? Think about how differently you're thinking. You're not thinking about customer service. You're not going to send them a survey. You're not thinking about SLAs and first call resolution or any of this nonsense that we've created to build this customer engagement. If you think about it, you have a much better sense of someone who's coming to help you because you know they care about you and what you care about. They don't just care about the tire or they don't just care about the internet working. Okay. And so that difference starts to manifest over time. So as you do this with all the people you support, with all your employees or whoever it is, and by the way, don't ever call them customers and please don't call them users because anytime you call them a user, you're separating yourself from them. They're a user, you're an admin or you're a support or whatever it is. Don't do that. Everybody's on the same team. Okay. And so this team chemistry really starts to matter. If you can imagine in sports, if the midfielders treated the goalie like a customer, or the goalie treated the midfielders like customers, think about how many games they're going to win. Not going to win any. Just going to tell you, they're not going to win any. And they create separations in silos. Everyone wants to talk about silos and breaking them down. Well, when you created a counter that you serve people behind, you've created a silo. Okay. All right. So customer service versus team chemistry. And again, there's a significant difference here in the perspective and the mindset that happens when people call you. Now, how do we build it, right? How do we build the idea? And I want to be clear, by the way, team chemistry doesn't mean teamwork. Team chemistry doesn't mean team spirit. Team chemistry is rooted in the idea that everyone on the team cares about each other and each other's goals. So the way I do this with my basketball teams is when I host a practice, we host a scrimmage after the team's gotten to know each other for a little while. I'll write random tiny micro goals on index cards and hand them out to the huddle. So I'll call the team together. We'll do a scrimmage on one side. I'll grab a team and I'll hand them index cards. It'll be things like get 6 points or score 6 points, get 2 assists, get 3 rebounds. And each person will get a random card that has some different goal. They all talk about it. They share their goals are in the huddle. And then we play a scrimmage. And at the end of the game, if you have reached all of your goals, or let's say you don't get to reach all of your goals, the rest of the team, not you, but the rest of the players in your team have to run laps. So they start to care about you achieving your goals and vice versa for you. If someone on your team doesn't achieve their goal, then you have to run laps, right? And so what starts to happen is you'll see people start to figure out everyone's strengths and weaknesses. They'll see how they like to play, what they're good at, and how they like to gel. And you'll start to see people start to care about each other's goals. One, because they're of their own self-interest, right? But it builds this wonderful thing of teamwork and team chemistry that comes out of it that wouldn't be able to come from any other way of just having a team execute. And you'll see teams start to do things on purpose to help each other, and they'll start to create their own actions and plays and all these wonderful things. What I do in my technology team is I have bonuses and stipends that are tied to people achieving goals. And you get your bonus if other people achieve their goals. If you get to achieve your goal, you get a high five and everyone's happy, but you don't actually get the stipend for it. We tie your goal to how it contributes to the company and everything else, again, to build the alignment, which again, I hate, but to build your contribution, recognition and everything else. But the rest of your team gets their bonus if you achieve your goal. And if you have a team of, let's say, 5 service desk guys, and I'm just going to make something up here, imagine now that you have 4 people helping you achieve your goal, and you are now helping 4 other people achieve theirs. One of the ways we build these goals, one is we build them so that we contribute to the company's, performance. But two, as I mentioned this before, is I have my team write their job descriptions every year. They get to rewrite their own job description from scratch. And then I have them write their next job description. What do you want to grow into? What do you want to do later? What do you want to do next? And from there, we start to source goals as well. And we share it with the rest of the team. One, thing of this exercise is you'll find out your team does so many things you didn't know they did. Even though you're the manager, you're like, oh, well, I didn't know you did this with this app or did this with these things. So you'll see a lot of wonderful things, but then you also get to see what they want to do. We share it with the team. And again, they start to care about each other's goals. That builds really good team chemistry within the team. But again, we're talking about team chemistry with Janice, the person in accounting, the person in sales who's trying to print a contract, right? And so the way we build team chemistry there is I embed the team throughout the company. So when accounting or sales or supply chain or various departments have their staff meetings, I have my service desk or engineers or whoever in their staff meetings, and I embed them in those teams' meetings. A lot of times they just sit quiet and listen. But what they do is they learn a lot about the other teams, their goals, their challenges, what's going on for them. And from that, whoever they're embedded with, I go get those teams' goals, and their bonus is tied to who their embedded department's goals. So they start to care about other teams. They care about, can the guy sign the contract, and less about, does the printer work? Now, obviously, it's the same thing from a technology standpoint, but it changes how we talk to people. It changes how we stand shoulder to shoulder with them rather than over a counter. So this team chemistry concept and the idea of sharing goals is really big. The other part that we have to understand is the business acumen. So people will start to learn things about what a balance sheet is, how to read an income statement, what an inventory turn is, and various other things that you can think about throughout the business, right? What the sales funnel may be. They're in, with the marketing team, what NPS really means and how to calculate the formula, or how to use the formula, right? They'll learn all this other wonderful stuff. One, by it grows their career, but it helps them support and speak the language. We can all think about that person who's called us when they don't really understand technology and they say the hard drive is broken, and they just mean their computer. They just mean the desktop, but they call it a hard drive. And you help them, and you don't think, you don't do anything about it. But in the back of your mind, like, this person doesn't really know what they're talking about, right? They'll say, the internet, the Wi-Fi. How many people call the internet the Wi-Fi, right? The Wi-Fi is down, right? In the back of your mind, they don't really know what they're talking about. When we do that with other teams and we say things to them, we don't ever want them to think we don't know what we're talking about. So the more we embed, the more we understand what the other teams are up to and what they're doing, we can speak their language, the more we create those connections. Lastly, the emotional intelligence. So not just the business acumen and understanding, what a sales funnel might be. But we think about the emotional intelligence and how we connect with the rest of our team. You guys know, if we had some process, and this is how I'm going to sell you guys a process. You guys know I talk about DISC all the time, and the things that people follow and their motivations in work is you have to talk to people in the way that they want to hear it. So if I was going to sell you guys a process, and I might say the new process will, be faster. Only takes 5 minutes. Same errors, same issues, right? So instead of 10 steps, instead of 20 minutes, it'll take 5 minutes instead of 20. New process reduce errors to 1%, but still take 20 minutes and have the same number of steps. Another alternative, new process only has 2 steps, but takes the same amount of time, same error rate. And then the idea that everyone likes it instead of everyone finding it a pain. And so what happens is you realize how to talk to people in different ways. Now, if I was going to, let's just say, solve a problem, let's say the printer problem we talked about earlier. If I know that from a disk standpoint, you're a D, you think about time. Time is your most valuable asset. So if I'm going to tell you I'm going to fix this issue for you, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to do this really quickly. I'm going to fix this right away for you. And it's like, oh, okay, it gets them excited. If they're a C, someone who's focused on details, right? It's same printer issue. The things I might say to them is be like, I'm gonna get this working perfectly for you. Like, oh, okay, perfect. I like the word perfect. I'm a perfectionist. I pay attention to details. I'm gonna get this exactly right, right? If you're an S, right? Um, I might say something like, "Hey, we got this. We're in this together, right? We build the consensus. I'm gonna fix it for you. I'll make you really happy. It's gonna be great, right?" If you're an I, right? Let me say, you know what? You got this. It's going to make it easy for you. Don't worry about it. We got this, right? This is easy for me to fix, right? So you're taking the burden off yourself. And so what you're doing by that is connecting to them on the wavelength that they want to be connected on. You're talking to them the way they want to talk. So if you build the business acumen, you build the emotional intelligence of how to talk to people the way they want to hear it, right? Again, this all goes back to chemistry. You build the concept of motivation, the internal motivation about caring about other people's goals and what they actually care about, and you can speak to it in a way that makes sense to them from a business standpoint, using some of their business language, and you can speak to it in a way that connects them with their emotional and work motivation. You can do all of that together. You're starting to really build team chemistry. And to me, that is a much better outcome, and you get much better service, support, whatever it is. And if you still want to measure all of those things, which I wouldn't do surveys anymore because it creates that customer concept, but all the things that you might want to measure, if you just do it this way, those same metrics will skyrocket, and you'll start to see wonderful things happen. Rogue IT is a thing we talked about all the time, a shadow IT. I've worked at companies where departments will say, we went and bought this software package. Now make it work. And we're like, what did you go buy? What did you do? Why were we not involved in all of this? You've probably seen that a bunch of times. I know I have. When you start to build this type of environment, when you have real team chemistry, you don't get that anymore because they think of you instead of a support team that helps them do something because it's your job to do, right? They see you as someone who just genuinely wants to help them because, again, they think of you as their boys, right? Oh, my boys got my back. Or my girls got my back, right? Or this team, my teammates got my back. right? And they think of it differently. And it just organically, naturally happens where they bring you into things much earlier. They don't have any this animosity. They don't feel like they have to yell or be mean to be heard, like a lot of people feel like with customer service, right? So all of those things sort of just evaporate, and then wonderful, beautiful things just start to manifest and grow out of this. So there's a lot more to it. I had to keep this in as close to 20 minutes as I could, um, but we'll close it off here and open it up to questions.
Job well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very good.